place this time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's recording. So to begin, I met Shores a few weeks ago, or 2 weeks. No, 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really
We'll go through it then. What?
interesting.
How far away was he from you then,
It was
Ryan?
like 90 minutes from my home, so I had to take
Okay.
2 trains and a bus, and then I was there. It was really interesting experience, but not in the way you would expect, because first of all, it turned out he lives in some kind of hippie community kind of thing. So everyone has a garden and everyone's very open, and
Yeah.
people are generally very something else, not in a negative way, but not what you're used to. So I discovered when I was there that I'm actually pretty closed off. I wouldn't say open-minded, but I'm a little bit,
Reserve, you mean?
right. Because
Right.
up there, they're like immediately hugging you, and they're like really open about,
Okay.
their sexuality, and it was just a different kind of energy. And to be honest, I didn't really like it too much. There were certain aspects of it I could appreciate and I can learn of, but it was an experience in which I learned a lot about myself, who I am, and what is
Right.
important to me. And I
Okay.
learned which things are preventing me from thriving. And yeah, like I said, it also cleared up a lot of things about myself.
Well,
So
go a little bit deeper with it then. What do you mean?
well, I'm actually a really down to earth kind of guy, no bullshit.
Hmm.
And when I was there, not to be disrespectful or whatnot, I felt like it was a little bit mm, fake. There was this fake atmosphere around. People were using a lot of drugs. They weren't dressed nicely in my eyes. They were really all over the place in their demeanor and stuff like that. They had like other values than I have.
Right. Right.
And I wasn't really aware that things like that were important to me. And
Okay.
some of the things I encountered in myself, I'm sure are due to my upbringing, but other things are just a part of me. And I thought it was really interesting to find out.
Yeah, you're going to get like different strokes, different folks, as they call it in this country. It's kind of we're all kind of different. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you just don't know. Each individual lives a certain way, and if all of a sudden, like you say, you kind of go into somewhere where everything's kind of open like that, it's difficult to tell even from a Skype conversation what the person's like. But I like all you guys. You've all got your own personalities and you've all got your own ways and means. And it's a case of when you went there. I mean, what did you go? Did you stay at the house or did you go out at all?
Yeah, I stayed at the house, and Shore showed me around and everything, and we talked a lot
Okay.
about his life and his situation and all that stuff. So I feel
Yeah.
like I had a good idea of how he's living and who he is as a person. Not in depth, of course, but I had a good
Yeah.
first impression. And, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
Because after a while I warmed up a bit. It usually goes like that, and then I feel more secure, and it wasn't a
Yeah,
negative.
it sounds like you got a bit of social anxiety
No,
there.
no, no, it's not. It's not social anxiety. It's more like I'm social from the start and everything, from everything like that. But
Right.
sometimes I get in certain atmospheres where that I don't trust for a certain reason. It's not only the people, but it's like the place. You get there and you see like a lot of junk in the backyard, and and
Yeah.
weird vibe, not a negative vibe per se. When I pick up something like that, two things can happen. Either something's wrong, or I'm a little bit I have to warm up a bit. I have
You
to.
mean like a bit of chaos? It's like a bit of chaos energy.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
that
It
more
was.
like it?
I wasn't used to it. I think it was it was that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And after a while, I'll get used to it. So next time I'll get there, or I get to a place with a certain, with a similar energy, I won't
Well,
have that anymore.
well, the thing is, Rowan, when we're open like this and we're trying to open up, the thing with it is it's kind of being trustworthy because we're all in the same place. It's kind of it's a bizarre kind of conundrum because if you're opening up to possibilities and other people, you got to understand that once you realise you're in this area, to kind of how can we put it? To do something upon somebody in context, it comes back on yourself because there's no getting away from it because you're in this realm of consciousness. So with you picking up the chaos, kind of chaotic energy, this is some people are like that. You see, the kind of especially students, and if there's students there as well, that's
Right.
the way they are, isn't it? Really, I mean, in the UK they're like that.
Right,
They just live by the minute. Live by the hour.
it has to do with my life experience because I went to some kind of a community college, but I never really had the full college experience, and I
Yeah.
didn't really have a lot of friends either. So I lacked a little bit of social experience. I am social, but more social experience as in different kind of situations, stuff like that. So later in my life, I'm only 22, but later I got more experience, and I feel like I'm still
You see,
gaining that experience.
what would have happened there? You'd have walked in, and your program would have been running, and you'd have been looking round, and all of a sudden, if it wasn't feeding back correctly, you'd have put yourself into a state of kind of like on shaky ground. But if you'd have gone there and you'd been like loosened up and you'd had a drink or something, you'd have probably been in a totally different mindset. So it's first impressions count in context. But if you was at the end of it, felt all relaxed, you felt chilled into it. Take that from it. Sometimes you can't get into it straight away.
Right, and think about this. I don't think there are a lot of people who would do what I did because I went there by myself. I didn't know anyone. Didn't even know Shores. I had only one conversation with him. So I think it's only natural to be a little bit, what's going on. I don't think there would be a lot of people who did what I did, because there were like 40 people up there. I didn't know anyone, and I get up there and I'm introducing myself. I don't think we should have the illusion that will ever go away. I think shyness is a part of being human. I think it is. Everyone has his or her insecurities, and everyone deals with it this in a different way. But this particular experience was due to my lack of experience. I feel like, and it wasn't that bad in the beginning. I just noticed really because the most social interactions I have are at work, and I'm really used to my work space. So I'm really confident up there. So you subconsciously assume you're like that everywhere. But then all of a sudden you notice when you're somewhere else, in this case the hippie campus, that it isn't like that,
Yeah, you got to work out you got to work out your parameters and things like that. But
Yeah.
you as you get older, you'll get more and more. It won't. What you're talking about now won't exist probably in 10 years' time. Believe
No.
me, you'll probably grow out of it. It's just one of these things.
It's a lack of experience, I think.
Of course, I don't know where you live. Do you live in a village or do you live in a town where you are?
Well, at the moment I'm in a town, but where I live is a fairly big city. It's between
Right.
a village and a city. It isn't
Okay.
like Amsterdam or something, but I wouldn't say it's a town either. It's pretty big. It's so, but everyone would go to that village to go out and everything when they were younger, and I didn't because I never really felt like I was worth it, or I what we've talked about before. So I skipped all that social interactions when I was younger, and now I do want to make those connections, but I don't really have a lot of friends outside of work. So I have to do things by myself. And that's sometimes a little bit of
You see,
But
I don't know whether I told you last time what I was looking at. I didn't even understand this, but I've looked into it 5 or 6 places. They say that the subconscious, once it's recorded something, it's got no aspect of time and space. So you could be, in 50 years' time, you would see a spider that came in front of you when you was 10 years of age. But your subconscious will replay it as if it was only seconds ago. It's really a bizarre thing because so your social kind of circle that you've gone through, and then if you go to somewhere like totally different to where you've just been to with Shorsh and whatever, it's just a case of the experience.
I shall tell you where this is coming from, how my subconscious works, because in my beginning years I used to hang out with a lot of people that made me insecure. Even my friends, they were just certain people that made me think certain things about myself subconsciously. And then after a long while, I found this job, and I all of a sudden met people that I really vibed with. And then I discovered my true self. And then, for instance, 2 days ago, I hung out with an old friend of mine, and I noticed the energy that used to be there and the energy that's here now because of how I changed. You know what I say? What I'm saying, I kind of like felt that difference in me. So I felt like how I used to be with him and how I'm now with him. It was still there. And I could find out like, oh, because I used to feel very insecure, and I used to feel like, oh, this is my fault that things are a little bit uncomfortable between us. But then all of a sudden I realized that's to do with those people. It never really had anything to do with me. Because I always had the feeling I had to change for others. I had to act a certain way. I couldn't be myself. And now
you might be. It sounds to me like you're very susceptible towards energy. That's what you haven't worked out what it all is yet. It's almost like you're very susceptible to human energy, and that's what it is. And that's a thing you'll learn over time. You're gonna pick it up where you go. You pick. It sounds to me like pretty similar to me. You feel before you even speak. You can feel it, the vibe, and usually you go from that. Sometimes it's wrong. Most of the time it's right because many words can be said, but the actions speak louder than words in context. And it's difficult sometimes to kind of work out, because then people think by you being quiet when you appear that you're kind of being offish, but you're not. You're just feeling into it because, like you said to me last time I was speaking to you, you was going to go on to this positive mental attitude run of things. What happened to that then?
Well, let me tell you. I also discovered something else. I'm more a doer than a thinker. I went through this short period of depression when I moved out for like 4 months, and that was due to me thinking too much about that stuff, overthinking, and meditation and stuff like that were never really never really for me. I'm someone who needs to be active. I need to move my body. I need to go do the gym. I need to interact with people and stuff like that. So when I'm doing all that, when my mind is still, I get in the positive frame of mind, and I also
you've got the monkey chatter then, haven't you? You've got the monkey mind chattering away.
It's another way. It's not a matter of forcing myself to think about positive things. I need to find a way to.
So, is that the house you grew up in? What you're in now? Have you been there all your life? Since you was a baby?
Yes. No. Since my 10th.
So 10th. So you see, I used to notice if I was in one house and then go back to mum and dad's, I used to then go back into that mode. I was back at my mum and dad's.
Yeah.
Sometimes if there's a little bit of vibe in the house, it's still there. You see, all our memories are inside that cube, inside that box.
I'm now in the room I used to close myself into all the time, and I actually noticed when I was doing groceries a few minutes ago how I used to feel stuck. I didn't feel like I could come out this room, the village everyone's going out to is so far away. I don't know anyone. People won't like me, and now I know better. But I still felt it,
This is profound, isn't it? Because I've been, looking over the last few weeks when I've got the time and whatever, just having a look at what is this? Why is this negative? What is this negative voice? What is it that something wants us to kind of not kind of be happy at times, and not to kind of go forward. And I think what it is, I think it's a case of we've got positive and negative information that flows around us, and if we get 4 or 5 bits of information that's negative, and it's almost like a magnet, isn't it? It all sticks to it and it carries on building. But it's like I just said to you, you're in that room there, look, I've made you aware of that, but subconsciously you've been aware of it, you see. But it's kind of you're in there now, but the 10-year-old version of you is still in there somewhere. You see, this is a bizarre thing about this stuff. People don't believe that, but it's true, because it's in the memory. It's like I said about the spider. If you see a spider and one spider frightened you when you was 10, and you see it when you're 60, you're going to replay that,
Right.
But so. What's happened to this? What's the name? Is it this woman at work again?
Yeah. Well, oh my God. Okay, so I'll make a short. I'll shorten the whole story, but this is what happened. Basically, a year ago, a woman came working at our place. We live near each other, so we had to grab the same train every day. Because of that, we saw each other a lot after and before work.
Yeah.
We noticed from the beginning we had a really good click. So we would talk a lot, we would hang out a lot, and in a really short time we had a very close, bond, and we would tell each other a lot of things, and at a certain point I began to grow feelings for her. And then around that same time, I had a really rough time at home, so I would tell her about it. And at a certain point, I decided I wanted to go live by myself, and I told her as a friend, not because I wanted something from her. So, and then all of a sudden, she gave me an address, and then I went for a potential new home, and because of that, I found my current home, and she helped there as well, because I didn't really have any people, and I felt a bit ashamed to ask my parents, and she already
Why did you feel a bit ashamed to ask your parents?
because I don't really want to I am a really social guy, but I still have in my external life I have like the what I have in my external life is because of how I was younger. When I was younger, I was really
Yeah.
shy, and because of that, now I don't really have a lot of friends.
Oh, I've got you saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I do want to have them. I can make friends, but I'm ashamed of that, and without even asking that girl, she offered me help. While didn't even know her for 5 months, 4 months,
Right.
and so I was really what, and she helped me with that, yeah, and she helped me with that, and months went further, and the feeling began to grow, but and she was hooking up with other guys and stuff like that, and she would have problems with relationships she had with those guys, and she would come to me for help, because I'm a good listener. Can you see me?
Yeah, it's cool. Don't
Okay.
worry, it's still
Yeah.
running.
So we had a really good conversation. We talked a lot, and there was this feeling between us. I wouldn't say it was romantic, but it was something. And then, things began to change, they began to grow this tension because of me, I feel like, because I began to have these feelings and I didn't want to admit to them. And
Right.
it became too big, and we had small little fights and stuff like that. And um,
Don't worry, the cameras might
no,
slightly go off,
I'm
but
thinking of what to say now.
that's cool.
And then a few weeks ago, I told my mother I thought I had feelings for her. And when I told her, I felt I had this release of energy and I began crying and stuff like that. And then I knew, like, okay, I have to tell her because she sees me as a friend and I don't want to fuck her over.
Right.
I don't want her to find out a year later that I had feelings for her. She will feel betrayed. And I know she had things like that in the past. So I told her on the phone.
Okay.
Because she wasn't at work when we would hang out after work. I feel like she already knew, and she was acting really down to earth and logical. Oh no, I don't have feelings for you, but it's no problem, blah blah. But immediately the day after, I noticed that she was really cold to me. It wasn't even uncomfortable. It was just cold. She was pushing me back, and over a period of a short time, we were ignoring each other.
Right.
And then she would indirectly respond to jokes I was making to others, and then a few weeks later, we were like talking with someone else. We were both talking with someone else and responding to each other's conversation, but not actually talking to each other. So then I was like, okay, this is stupid. Let's talk this out. And I did, and I thought everything was good. And after that, we had a really great talk because we hadn't talked for a while and stuff. And then 2 days later, after the weekend, we hadn't even spoke that weekend. She was like cycling behind me, gave really short answers to me, was again pushing me back. And then at the end of the day, she told me she didn't want to have any contact with me because she was picking up this energy from me, and I was like, what the fuck? Because she's really closed off. She's really reserved. It's really hard for her to talk. So and I'm like this, I want to talk everything through and I want to know what's up. So that's the only thing I got out from her, like 3 sentences. And after that, I've been ignoring her. I told her like, okay, but
if you're doing all that, you're probably closing her down. What you should do is kind of probably, if you get a chance to approach her again, just let her have a piece. Don't record in your mind what she's going to say. Don't project what she's going to say. Almost like, almost to a degree, kind of. Don't even bore into her head. Just kind of let her get her ease, and it'll come out. You see. If you're going to be like that, she's going to pull away. It's not your fault, but what I'm saying is it sounds to me like this. I can't understand, because you spoke about it before. I can't understand. Obviously, I've not seen her. I don't know her, but it's very difficult to understand what's actually occurring. Much older is she? New?
She's 28.
Right. Okay.
This is what. But wait. So what she's doing basically, she's acting like nothing happened. She does, and then she will respond indirectly to things I'm doing, without actually talking right at me, and I don't want that because things happen and I want to talk it out. She did things that I don't understand, and I feel like she's hurt because she used to be very extroverted, and after I told her about my feelings, she was like not talking to people at all anymore, and a few weeks before our holidays.
Hold on a minute. You just said she was extrovert. She can't be extrovert and reserved at the same time. What is she?
Okay, she's extroverted about. She's acting extroverted. She's talking with everyone, blah blah. She's really hyper and stuff like that. But she's never really exposing her feelings and stuff like that. So when it comes down to her feelings, she's really reserved. She has a hard time talking about them. So she has like 2 sides. And the extroverted side of her is really childlike, and she never really had a good bond with her mother. So I feel like something's going on.
Yeah, it's complicated, Rowan. Complicated. Don't get, just. I can't explain. I can't even give you an advice because I don't know her. But I'm just saying to you, it's going to be complicated.
It is already.
Because it seems to me that she's picking up energy from you, and you're picking up energy from her, and then there's your voices as well. So you got like a dual. Like a dichotomy going there. You got a dual aspect of it,
And she is still, because I told her right before she got back from her vacation, like I want things to be good again, but I just can't act like nothing happened, like you're doing. So please leave me alone, except you want to talk it out, and come to me if you want to, because I already did a lot of approaches and you never really did anything with it, and I feel like there's a lot of manipulation going on as well. She's also very receptive to energies, and I had a lot of conversations about that, so we know that from each other, so we're both doing things to trigger each other.
So what you're doing is you're creating chaos. You're creating a chaotic energy between you two, and the reason what you're doing is it's almost like you ask for salt, and you think she's going to give you a pot of salt, and she gives you a pot of pepper, It's a bit like trick or treat. Is it a trick? She says, "Oh no, it's a treat," and you open the hand, it's a trick. So what you're doing is you've got to realise that it sounds to me that you both got like kind of this kind of issue going on, and it's a case of you're trying to resolve it, but it's as if to say that your words, you can say, "Oh, we've sorted it." But if your energy's play behind your words, that's what's happening, because it's them wrecking it, you see. It's them messing it all up. Yeah, very, very complicated.
Now I'm like ignoring her, like I told her. And I told her, like, if you're willing to talk it out, you know, I'm open to it, but I don't want to act like nothing happened, you know, and I'm really hurt. Yeah, because she's acting like she doesn't care, but you can tell if she does, you know, and she's overcompensating, and yeah, it's really hard relationship. But the problem is, you know, she was away for like 2 weeks, and then I had the time to process it, and I thought it was all gone, you know, the feelings and stuff. But then she came back, and now it's back in my face, you know. Normally, when you're rejected, you don't see that person anymore, or at least not that much.
Yeah, but you work with her, don't you?
Yeah, I see her every day, and
exactly. So you've got to understand it's very difficult, because you're taking emotion into a logical arena, and it's not good. You know, it's one of you is going to finish up bloody leaving the job if you don't be careful.
Right.
Because you've got to be very careful with this, because you may have feelings for her, and she may not have the feelings for you. She might have the feelings for you, might have the feelings for her at certain times. I don't know. But
she does have feelings for me, not in that kind of way. She has told me that I was her favorite colleague, and that she's really fond of me, but not in a dry way. She told it with a lot of emotion, you know, and she had to cry almost once and stuff like. So it's really, there is something there, but I don't. It's not like
no, that's right.
Romantic
So you're trying to get something balanced with her, but you also know that you're saying you got feelings for her, have you?
Well, yeah, I feel friendship for her, and that wasn't a lie at all. But
there's no romantic kind of notions there, is there?
Between us, no. But I began to feel that, and I feel like she's really attractive. My body tells me you have to have sex with her, you know, like I get a really strong biological reaction from her, you know. She has something really sensual. You know what's interesting? I don't really have experience with women, but for some reason I always liked dominant women, you know, and not in conversation, because I'm really loud, you know, and I'm really controlling and stuff like that, but more in a subtle kind of way, you know. Women that don't give in, women that have something dark or about them, you know, not in their appearance per se, but, you know, something. I don't know. My mother was also very.
I'm about to bring your mother into it, so it's pretty much a reflection of your mother. You see, that's what this is what we do. This strange thing. So what you've got to be careful with is that you're going to cause. Like you said, it's biological. You've got to understand that can't come into play in an office environment or wherever you work. You've got to somehow kind of switch it off, because if you don't, it's going to affect all areas of your life, and you've got to somehow kind of I know it's very difficult, but you've got to somehow kind of speak to her, and then kind of get like a balance on it, because it sounds to me like you said it's almost like you're thinking with the wrong part of your body.
But that's all. It's like all at once, you know. And I already know that I'm not going to have sex with her or anything, and I told her that. No, not like that, but I told her that I know that, and the only reason I told her is because I didn't want to fuck her over, you know. I didn't want to screw her over. I want to be honest.
But what I'm saying is, Rowan, like you said, you've been this kind of person. When you actually releasing this information to it, it's got energy behind it, and it can be very powerful. It can be very overwhelming for somebody.
I know.
You know, you've got to somehow kind of, when you engage with the information, you've got to say to yourself, lower the energy, or lower your kind of just lower yourself down, just kind of, get more kind of relaxed with it. And
I can be really intense, you know.
no, don't do the intention, but then speak to her. First of all, count to 10 and say, right, I've got to calm down, calm my heart rate down, calm my, your nervous system down. Just calm your thoughts down, and then just go, hi, is it possible to talk, but not with the energy behind it, because you'll cause problems, you see.
But I've already been telling her this and that, and I've been ignoring her since she's back from her vacation as well. So I don't want to contradict myself, I've already setting a boundary, I've already been telling her, like, I want it to be like this. I don't want to act like nothing is going on. I want to talk this out. So it would be really weird for me to do the opposite of the sudden, to be like, oh no, I am going to talk with her, and it also feels a little bit like giving in to her, because she's also playing a game. She's doing little things to make me give her energy, and so it's a subtle thing that's going on. It's really unhealthy also. And
yeah, but this is what I'm saying to you. If you pick up an energy, you got to be very careful, because some of it can be put out that the energy you're receiving is not a true variation of what you think it is. So you can create then an image in your mind that you think's happening, but it's almost kind of like in your imagination. And I know that sounds bizarre, but part of it could be. Because, like you say, if somebody's not speaking to you, your mind runs rampant and trying to work out what this person's thinking and doing, and it's becoming like pathological. So you've got to say to yourself, is it benefiting you? Is it benefiting her? Just kind of almost lock that. If you think it's going nowhere, Rowan, you're going to put yourself in a whole lot of pain eventually if you don't be careful.
Right, but ignoring her, for instance, it's not a good solution either, because it's still giving energy to her, and right before vacation, after weeks
why is that then? How's that working? If you're ignoring her, you're giving her energy, how's that work then?
Because I'm still thinking about her. What's natural for me to do is to talk to her. It feels natural. If I don't think about ignoring her, I'm just being and I'm talking to her, but I'm angry, and I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't want to do things her way. I don't want to act like nothing is happening. I want this to. So I'm constantly thinking, like, don't respond to her, don't look at her, don't do this. So I'm still occupying myself with her. It's not natural for me to ignore her. It's something I have to put energy into. So I'm still putting energy in her, you know what I'm saying? Because she's contacting me still as well. When we are at the same table at lunch, she's looking at me all the time. She's responding to things I'm saying to other people. It's stuff like that. It's really exhausting. While I told her I don't want her to do that, because it's really
it's very complex, isn't it? It's very, very complex. And like you say, not knowing the person, not seeing her, and not knowing her perspective, it's very difficult, because what I can hear from you, it's not doing you any good at all. Because, what you're doing is, if it's becoming all-encompassing, if you're going back home and thinking about her or whatever, and it's getting to a point where it's more kind of shut down from it. I mean, the other week you wasn't like this, so... No, you've got to speak to your former self and kind of get back to there.
And the problem also is that she has a richer social life. She's doing things with other guys. So even if it hits her, she has things to distract herself with. She drinks a lot. So she doesn't. I'm always putting more energy into this than she is. And that's very hurtful as well. I feel a little bit like
listen to what you're saying. You're putting more energy into something that she said she doesn't want to go any further. So what I don't understand. It sounds like to me you're very, very confused with this. Very highly. It sounds to me like you're physically and biologically confused with the mind. The mind and the body is running at two different levels here. Your body's saying one thing, Rowan, but your mind's saying something else. So logically, logically you know what's right, but physically you can't help yourself because your hormones are running rampant.
Right, and it's also affecting my mind.
Yeah. So what you've got to do is, my friend, to be honest with you, because obviously if you're working with her and stuff like this, you're just going to have to somehow kind of almost. You've told her what you think. You've told her what's what. You've got some kind of common understanding, but it's stiff to me that you and I don't know her. Obviously, I don't know her, so I'm not going to make any assumption. But it sounds to me like that you have kind of got this in your mind that she's. Do you feel hurt by her? You said you felt hurt by her. Hurt.
Oh yeah, no, that's because that's because of a few things. It's because I've been really open with her, and she hasn't even given me like 5%, and also because I thought we talked things through, and then she pushed me away 2 days later, and
Yeah.
because she made out with someone I feel I have a good relationship with, right in front of me at this work party, And
Right.
she got a lot of shit for that as well. So it's
A
more
lot of shit. A lot of shit off who?
from superiors, from people, because she was making out with a coworker at a
Right.
party. Everyone saw it. That's not appropriate. And the guy was like 4 years younger than her, and she was drunk and stuff like that. And she did it almost in front of me. So yeah, I don't
Look,
know.
what I'll say to you is, as I'm a lot older than you, Rowan, is what you've got to understand is where you're in like this. You're in like a you work in an office, do you say?
Right.
Right, you're in a thing called an office. You're in office politics, right? And it really doesn't make a lot of sense most of the time, because office politics and people's actions and reactions inside that arena cannot be all to be ever to be true. They might be putting a facade on. It might be an act.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've obviously known her, and your brain would be going, if she's played 3 or 4 versions of her in front of you, and you're not kind of sure who she is now, you feel let down by her, you see. But you've got to, somehow or another, you've got to kind of get your own power. Don't give her your power. Get your own power.
Right.
Get your own perspective on it.
Right.
Stand there in your own space.
Right.
And then once you've got that, you'll realise that you're not then projecting onto her that this kind of because what you're doing, you're feeding back to yourself where you're going to make yourself feel low and low of energy, because you feel like you just said to me she's only giving you 5% and you're giving her 95%, but 20 minutes ago you said you didn't want anything like that. So it's very difficult, because women in offices and things like that, they'll play these games with men and they'll play you off against each other. Animals do that as well,
What do you mean 20 minutes ago I said I didn't want to?
20 minutes ago, like you said that let me get it right. It's about the 5%,
Mm-hmm.
and then you said something like about you know what the line is with her. You know you're going to get fucking hurt with her. That's what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you now, you're going to get hurt with her. She's going to fuck you up.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, then you want to just retreat then into the world further. It's not serving you. You've got to kind of, like you say, get kind of your own kind of strength from. You know what you do. You study your strength. You work out your parameters, what's good for you, and get you right, Rowan. Because if you look into somebody else like that for this thing that you seem to be missing and not come to grips with, it'll just keep coming back and biting you. Because I'll tell you from experience.
Yeah, what the other thing is that I think what I'm doing now was a good choice. Ignoring her, not talking to her, trying not to give her anything, and setting my boundaries was a good thing, saying to her, like, I want to talk things out, or it's not okay for me. I'm not going to do anything. And, I'm good at it. I don't talk to her. I don't look at her, anything like that. It was just really hard when she came back all of a sudden, because your energy was right in my face again, and
Yeah, but listen, that's her energy, Aaron, Rowan. That's her energy. It's not, it's not your energy.
I know.
This is what I'm saying to you. You've got your own energy.
I know.
It's a case of you can intertwine that energy if you're good, solid friends or good, solid lovers or something like that. But if you're not that, it's not going to be happening, or it gets confusing. because it's kind of like what you're saying to me about her, it's kind of, she was making out with somebody else in front of you. Was you at this party when she was doing it?
Yeah, it wasn't right in front of me. It was.
Well, there you go. There you go. Then, so sometimes women do things because they triangle a man, so they get more confused and get emotionally all twisted up like you're going through. But she might know she's doing that. She's triangling you. She's using another point of reference to get you. Either to spin you that way or spin you the opposite way, but keep you off balance, because she knows you're going to say, why would you do that? Because there might be a little bit of sadistic attitude in there. There might be a little bit of a sadist to her. You don't know, Rowan. You just don't know.
That's the problem. Because I don't know, I'll try to look for answers. Yeah, that's stupid. And you get in these useless mind traps and stuff like that. And that's the exhausting part of it,
Yeah, because she's what you're doing indirectly, she's winding out your fucking psychic energy, you see. She's taking it out of you because you're draining out because you're confused by it. Well, that energy's all around us, but it's up to you to tap into your energy. Don't look for her to kind of give you that kind of reflection back to you. If it's not a two-way thing, if you put quite a bit of time and effort and whatever into something, and it's reciprocal, and it always comes back, and it's a union, and that's beautiful. But if it's not a union, you're giving 95 and she's giving you 5%. It's really not good, is it? You've said it all there in a nutshell.
All of a sudden, I have a really interesting topic to talk about, but it's a little bit out there, and it's something I've been wondering about, and I feel like maybe you have some answers, or maybe you have some thoughts, because I'm really into like light BDSM, not the heavy stuff, but like lighter kind of stuff, and I'm in a woman, I really appreciate for some reason feet and hands. I don't particularly like the weird stuff people do on the internet, but I like looking at it, and when it looks nice in my eyes, I can really appreciate it and kind of turn on by it. But then I was thinking, like, to me that's natural, but then I was thinking like, oh, there are a lot of people who don't think like that, and they think it's a little bit strange, and the BDSM part, I think I can track back to my mother, because she was very controlling, and I'm very controlling myself, so maybe it's kind of like...
What would have happened is when you was a little toddler, when you was starting to walk, you'd see her feet, and all the time she'd be picking you up. She'll be picking you up with her hands, and you'll be down very low and small and seeing her feet, you see.
Yeah, but it's not, I don't like every pair of feet, it has to look a certain way, not like the feet of my mother, but...
No, I'm just saying, why is it that's in there? It's in there from an old recording, you see, from an old aspect.
And I like dark nail. How do you call the paint? Nail paint. I like dark colors, black or dark red, And I thought that was really interesting. Because I'm sure it must have something to do with, I don't know, with my subconscious or something, or with my youth. I don't know, but I was wondering, maybe you have some thoughts about that. It's really strange, and it's not something I have control over. So.
No, it's just we've all got these individual aspects of a woman's anatomy that you like, and it's kind of, I like the shape of the aristocracy, as I call it, the bottom, Yeah. and the neck here, just under the neckline here, you see, things like that, but one of the things, it's very bizarre with me, because if she's only like 70% good looking, but she's got that extra bit in the mind, I love that, I just love that mind connection. So what you've got to work out is, Rowan, that you're at this age where you're going to go through all these stages. So you don't know who you are yet, Do I know who I am? No, not really. You're asking. I can tell you. I can give you advice, but you ask some kind of expert who's been like thinks they look like they know everything in the world, but they don't know themselves. It's bizarre. This thing is, it's very difficult to see ourselves, but we can also see many aspects of other people. So what you've experienced in there is, what would you say, like a fetish thing then?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
people call it that, but it's not.
No, no, it's no nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing wrong with it. It's
Mm,
just your way, isn't it?
yeah,
It's there's nothing perverse about it. It's just the way just the way you are. So if Aaron's watching this, if I say to him about pterodactyl feet,
yeah.
he'll be laughing now. He'll know what I mean.
Okay.
He was, yeah. I won't say anymore. Just pterodactyl feet. If
Yeah.
Aaron's watching, yeah. But the thing is with it, you see, it's kind of. But you see, you're overanalyzing it, Rowan, and it's kind of, it's almost like you've got this. You too many questions for something. Sometimes in life, it's so simple.
Right.
You got to, because if you don't do that, you're going to wear yourself out. You're
That
going to make
was the
yourself kind
answer
of ill.
actually to a lot of my social
Yeah,
problems because I've grown a
sure.
lot in a short time, and that was due to just letting go, not thinking about everything, and just allowing myself to be myself.
Yeah,
Naturally talk, let myself talk whatever I wanted to say, and just express myself. And that's what I'm doing right now, and that's why things can come out a little bit intense because I never really learned to be myself. So I used to put on the brakes really hard, and now it's like I don't have the brakes on anymore to find out how the car is like without the brakes. And I feel like after that I need to go get back a little bit so I can find balance. And now
yeah.
I'm really getting through a phase of driving the car, like I said, without the brakes.
Well, is there anything like hobbies you like or things like that? What do you like at hobbies? Is there any way you can join a club where there's the same kind of people?
Yeah,
It might be book,
I've been
might be
thinking
a book
about that.
club, or it might be a book club. It might be any sort of thing. Like I used to go to astronomy. I know they don't see many women there, but I used to go there when I was a real young kid, and I used to love it. I know that's not the bit later on, but then you go to other places where you can kind of it might be a psychology class at night or something. Just these places where more deep thinking people reside, and that might
I
be.
just had this always had this attitude of I have to do things I don't like. You have to work. Um, um, yeah, just like that. There wasn't really a lot of room for fun things. And when I used to just work, and when I was in my spare time, I would complain all the time. Or I felt insecure. And I let go of a lot of that stuff, but I still sometimes have a hard time finding out what I like. I identified in myself that I'm very sexual, and I like talking to women, and I like having a lot of fun. But I didn't even used to know that when I was younger, and those are really basic things that if you have it, you know it, but I didn't know it, and that's a good example of how disconnected I was from a certain part of myself. There's parts of me I'm really that I know very good, but there are some simple things a lot of people do know about themselves. I don't really know for some reason because I
Yeah,
always said,
because what you're doing is you know you want to be happy, but there's some overbearing voice or overbearing program in your mind that's saying to you, even if happiness comes to you, it's not going to last. You see, and that's
right.
probably from you. That's probably from your mum or your dad.
I think
And
somewhere along the line I was disappointed,
you're
and
disappointed. We're all been disappointed. Do we get over it? No. What we've got to do is put it to the side and realise that kind of life's not fair. Life is not fair at all. That's why we all kind of gel together, because we talk through stuff like me, you, Aaron. Guy, I ain't spoke to Guy for a while, and Shorsh, Jonas. We all speak because we've all gone through a certain kind of period in our lives. And some of you guys are a lot younger than us, but you got to realise that we're still kind of searching for certain answers. But we know now roughly what it is. It's this place is this place. It's this paradigm. It's kind of I can say to you it's just a dream, but to you it's very serious, because later on in life you realise that it seems that way. It seems like a bloody dream, but everybody else is so serious, you see. And with you, with this office, you've got, like you say, what you're bringing into that arena is logic and emotion. And when them two things cross, is any dangerous? It's dangerous, you see. If you don't know the boundaries, you don't know the person, it can be very dangerous, because you're going to get mixed up with the two aspects, as in logic, as in work, as in logical mannerisms in an office, and then you thinking deeply about her. It's not going to kind of gel well for you, because you're the one who's going to lose in the end. If you feel like she's kind of scorned you, or you scorned her, it's a very difficult thing to get over, because your feelings for her is not being reciprocated, and it will give them back to you. It's almost kind of, you feel kind of let down by it, but then you feel kind of slightly paranoid, thinking, does she perceive that she's playing a game with me? But it's not probably a game. It's just the way females are. They work on a different level to us, Rowan. They work in a totally different level to a man. So they use emotion, like you use emotion. But most men don't use emotion. They're like cavemen, you see. But you've got that side to you. You must have like a certain side to you that's been tuned in to feel the energy, and that's a brilliant thing. But it'll also give you a lot of problems as you're learning what it is. It's very complex to learn. It might take another 10, 15 years, because it's very difficult because you can get confused with what the mind's telling you. The heart and the mind, you see, you're feeling with the heart, but the mind's going, no, this is not right. So you know in the mind it's not right, but you keep going back to the heart and the body.
Yeah, but I'm right about certain things. I have the feeling that this isn't over, and it's really true, because she's still paying attention to me. She's still listening to what I'm doing, and
well, she's going to have to. She works with you.
No, but it's in a different kind of way. And this is not paranoia or anything. It's not something I can explain, like.
Right.
And she's still there's still something going on, and it's really.
Well, let's just have a little bit deeper look into it. And so there's other guys in the office, other men in the office. What's she like with them? Pretty similar to what she's doing with you?
No, she isn't. That's the thing. I used to be the only one in the office she was close with. The other, she only showed her mask to, of being very happy and talking a lot. But when she was with me, she relaxed more, and we would talk about things, about her problems, about my problems. We had very good conversations. I know it's different, but we had. It was something different. I'm not being delusional here, but now when that was over, because I told her I had feelings for her, she also stopped talking to anyone. She was really introverted all of a sudden, really, you could tell she was really awkward as well. It was just different, and people actually noticed that something was going on.
Because you got your social mask that you wear in the office, and then you've got the other version behind the mask.
Mm-hmm.
What you two's done, you've let her look behind your mask, and she's let her look behind hers, and now all of a sudden you're going, what's going on here? Because all of a sudden you kind of like getting kind of this kind of dichotomy going on in your mind, talking internal dialogue. But you've got to realise that if you feel like you're giving 95%, she's only giving 5%. Just take yourself out of your mind and just answer that from not your perspective, from another person's perspective. I'm telling you that I know somebody, I'm giving 95% and they're giving 5%. What's that say to you? I'm just turning it round as if to say I'm saying that. It's not a case of with me. I'm just saying to you, if I was in a relationship, the woman, I was giving the woman 95%, she was giving me 5%. Mm-hmm. That says to me that it's almost kind of. I'm not saying you're delusional here. I'm just saying to you, this is how it plays out with women.
But what you have to understand about her, she has a problem with vulnerability, and she told me that as well. This is a very personal thing. She has this with almost everyone. She told me even once that she doesn't even tell her best friends everything. She is just, I feel like things happened in her past, so she's very closed off. She has this mask of being, and people fell into it. So it seems like she's talking a lot, and she's very social, but when you're actually listening to what she's saying, she isn't saying that much. She never.
But that's a mask. That's a social mask.
And that mask almost never comes up. So when
No, it
she
won't do.
no, so but with everyone. So if she gets in a hard in a hard conversation or moment, she chooses to hide or run away. That's what she always does. Not only with me, with others as well. Even with relationships she's had. So that's the fucking problem, you know. I'm not like that, you know. I'm like I'm now, you know. I'm very open, you know. I talk about stuff like that, you know. And of course, I lie and I manipulate as well, but I think about it and then I talk about it after that. You know, I'm always honest at the end of the day, you know. And she just isn't, and that's the thing that bugs me. And I know it has nothing to do with me. That's just how she is. But
welcome to the world, my friend.
yeah,
That's how people are in the world.
but I can't help feeling like that, you know. You know, I feel like the emotions I'm going through now are only natural. I shouldn't put labels on them like this is not good, blah blah. I feel like I should allow myself to go through this, because otherwise it gets bottled up, and you know, maybe it will become a certain bitter part of me, you know. I should and I get ashamed and stuff like that. I try to acknowledge the fact that have feelings for her, that she doesn't feel the same way about me. Yeah, the whole situation. It's very important for me to acknowledge all that, because otherwise this becomes just a walk of shame. You know, I don't want to have. You know, I want to be honest about myself and my feelings and everything.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, Rowan, when you're in the office, are you yourself, or are you a different version to what you are when you're at home?
With her, I was myself.
No, what I'm saying is, if she wasn't in that office, would you be yourself, or would you have created a Rowan mask to work your days, hours at work?
Well, yeah, we have a mask, but we also talked about this.
No, you're not getting what I'm saying to you. Do you show anybody else in the office behind your mask?
Yes. Yes, I've had I have a few co-workers I'm close with. I hang out with after work as well. And after you've hung out with certain people after work, you know, you get to know people better and you get to know each other's mask. I've even had conversations with her about it. We would have very open-hearted conversations in my house, and we would be like, "Oh, we could never talk about these things at work," you know. So we knew from each other. We knew each other's masks. We have talked.
Yeah, that's what the problem is. You see, that's why she's only giving you 5% back, because she feels vulnerable.
Yeah.
If you're in there, kind of like, you know, kind of boring into her, she thinks you're thinking about her. She feels insecure. So you're in a way creating this as well as she is. So how do you stop it? This is the problem, you see, because energy is a bizarre thing. The only thing I can suggest to you is kind of it is a case of, she's told you she doesn't want anything else other than the relationship you got now, which is friendship.
And that's what I want as well.
Yeah, but there seems to be some undercurrent going on here. There's something more to it, because like you said, you're starting to get feelings for her, and it's part of you starting to get feelings for her. So you can't. This is what she's getting. So you're giving her dual aspect of you, and she's giving you dual aspect of her. So you somehow or another, you've got to kind of realise that you can't express this in that office, because it's going to cause problems. You've got to somehow try and say to her, "Do you want to meet me for a drink or something?" And if she doesn't turn up, what's that done to you? Out of work, what it's done to you out of work, it's proved one thing to you, that it's not going any further. And then what you can do is take that then into the office. You can be friendly with her, but shut your energy off from her. Because if you shut the energy off from her, you don't have to do that. You can be friendly without sharing your energy in context.
But I'm already doing that, you know. I've told all those things outside of work, you know. I've never talked about this with her at work. It's always
that's why you feel insecure, because you think she's got something on your being. You've told her very kind of deep aspects of yourself, and you feel vulnerable because she knows them now. And then you're questioning, you're questioning the fact that if she knows them now, is she playing you emotionally because she knows you? You see, this is the aspect of relationships. It's very bizarre, but I don't think what happened is if you say to yourself, hold on, she knows this about me and you know that about her, you can't take them into the workplace because you'll cause major problems all the way through your rest of your weekend. When you go back home at the weekend, you're not at work and things like that. It sounds to me like you're just young people and you're kind of trying to work it out, but you've got to work it out as if to say that if she's becoming constantly in your mind, that's your space, that's your mind, Rowan, not her space, that's your space, I don't know what. So when you leave on a Friday night, you don't see her till Monday. Is that right?
You're right.
So what goes on over the weekend? Is it a case of you're not busy? You're thinking about her at the moment?
Not at the moment. It used to be it used to be really worse before I told her because it was all bottling up, and I was taking my distance from her, and she was coming to me all the time and asking me things and being really happy and giving me stuff, and because we used to be really good friends, and there was something weird to her energy as well. She has a very flirtatious energy, and she's always was very happy with me and giving me stuff, and always when I tried to keep my distance, she would always find a way to so, but then I told her, and after that it's been a process of letting her go. And since I did that, I didn't really think about it too much after work. But lately I have been again because,
it sounds to me like the 2 weeks she was away, she's come back. And what happens is the 2 weeks she was away in that office, you was not thinking about her, you was getting on with your work. And then she's come back and all of a sudden your emotions have rised up again. That's the problem. As before, your emotions for her was not there because she wasn't there. For 2 weeks she was away. Now she's come back. It's like the energy started again. It's energy.
Yeah, but I felt like I built something in myself. I felt like I was letting her go more and more. But for some reason, that all was shattered, and all those old feelings came back when she returned from her holidays. I don't get why. Maybe also because of the whole making out thing that happened, because right after that she went on a vacation, she didn't return to the office, so when she came back everyone was like, oh, what's gonna happen, how is she going to react, and because
hold on, making out bit, what making out bit?
She was making out with a co-worker, right?
Oh, right, this wasn't that long ago. I didn't know it wasn't that long ago. Okay then. Yeah.
And after that she went on a holiday, and she just returned. We saw her for the first time since that incident 2 days ago. So everyone was like, oh, what's gonna happen, because the guy she made out with is always at our table as well. So everyone was thinking like, oh, how are they going to respond, and things like that.
Right, and how did you feel with it then? Did you feel kind of jealous or not?
Well, I was really surprised because for 2 days I felt a little bit hostile towards the guy, but the third day I was already talking with him again, and after a while it was gone, and I realized like, okay, this has nothing to do with him. He was just following his instincts, and he already told me that it would never happen again, and not because I asked, but he just told everyone like, no, she's my type, I was just drunk. But I was angry with her because even though it may be not true, I feel like I feel like it's a little bit disrespectful, to me. But also, and maybe not true. Maybe she did it because she was drunk and stuff like that. But I can't help to feel disrespectful, that it was disrespectful, and also to herself, because she has told me things, and I've helped her with similar things, that she's drunk and she makes out with guys and they'll betray her, and then she comes to me and she cries, and it was also, I also partially felt like, oh, now you're doing it again, man. You're doing this to yourself. So it was like, I felt like she disrespected me, but I also felt like she disrespected herself, and I felt like, you're doing this to yourself. So the friend part of me was like, why are you doing this? And the sexual side of me was like, it was yeah. It's
Yeah,
really
you're in the right pickle, aren't you? You're gonna
yeah.
have to just like I said to you, the best thing you can do is kind of invite her out of work to say, would you like to meet me for a drink? I just want to talk about over something. Totally away from the office, totally away from your homes, just somewhere in a coffee shop or something.
But I've
Just sit there.
already proposed that, and she doesn't. She just isn't a talker. She has a really hard time with that. Not only with me, with others as well. So I already told her, like, on the text before the day before she came to work. Look, right before your vacation, you were contacting me again indirectly. I don't want this because we still have some issues going on, and can't act like nothing happened, And I'd love to things to
So
get.
she was contacting you. What was she saying? To tell me what she was saying.
For instance, the first time I was let me grab some water first.
Yeah, you do that.
The first time I talked with her, after I told her, because she was like responding to me indirectly, and I went to the bedroom, and I came back, and all of a sudden there was a little chocolate on my desk, and I thought the coworker in front of me put it there, but she told me no, it was the girl. And then I noticed her opening up more and more towards me during the day, responding indirectly to jokes I made to other people. So then I told her, "Shall we bike together to the train?"
Sure.
Weeks after the first time I told her, and then we talked everything through. I told her, like, why did things progress this way? On the phone you were very laid back about this, and then the day after you were all this, and she told me, like, yeah, the reason I began to ignore you was because I thought you were angry with me. And then I was like, the reason I ignored you was because I thought you were angry with me. You were all close, So, and then I was like, okay, let's just act normal again. Maybe it will be a little bit uncomfortable, but this isn't necessary. And she agreed. And after that, we talked for like 40 minutes. No a sign of awkwardness or whatsoever. It was like it used to be. And we talked about a lot of things because we hadn't talked for a while. And then, like I told you, 2 days later, she was cycling behind me, and she was ignoring me all day. I just didn't understand it at
Be-
all. And after
because
that, I told her, like, I'm not going to interact with you anymore
no,
unless you
no,
come to me.
but Rowan, she's like, what? She's 28 years of age.
Yeah.
28. She doesn't know her own emotions herself, mate. You think she does? She doesn't.
No.
You think she does? She's acting blind as much as you are. You think she'd know what she's doing, but she probably doesn't. She doesn't know herself yet. She's not in the 30s or whatever. So there's certain areas of it that she's confused about herself. So you see what happens is you're picking up on her energy, and she might be a certain way on a Tuesday, and by a Thursday it might be changing. So you're picking up a different vibe from her. That's how people are. They're multifaceted. You see, what you've got to realise is that most people can't sense this energy. You can, and you've got to understand that she probably doesn't even know how to control it. So, it's confusing all around because you perceive that you've met her at a certain level, and she's met you at a certain level. But there's these other levels to both of you. You're multifaceted that you're not going to correlate with. You're not going to kind of meet in the middle with. So it sounds to me like what you've got to do is kind of somehow, like I said to you, not meet, somehow try and, do you go back on a train together, do you? Or bike?
We used to, and we had good, yeah, but that we haven't been doing that for almost 2 months because of all this. And when we see each other at the train or whatnot, we just ignore each other, and that's what we've been doing. Because after we talked it through, and she was ignoring me, I told her, like, okay, and what's going on here? Because we talked through, now you're doing this and that. And then she told me, like, I'm picking up this certain energy of you from you, and at the moment I don't want to have contact with you I'm sorry. I have a hard time telling you this when others are around. So I was
Right.
like, okay, I'm happy you finally fucking tell me what has been up with you. I'm really happy about that, but now I'm not going to put any energy in this anymore. If you want things to be the way they used to be, you have to come to me and we talk it out. But I'm not coming back to you again because I've been doing this the whole time and you're responding like this, and I feel a little bit like a fool for you're like,
Mm.
I'm coming to you and you're doing this all of a sudden, I feel a little
Yeah.
bit, yeah. So I told her that, and
Well, it's not. Look, you're not there just to serve her. A service to somebody is a two-way thing. That's life. That's how it is in this world. We kind of like, if somebody says, "Oh, you just ought to be in service to me," that's not fair because it's kind of a two-way thing. Because that's the way it is.
that's my point. And I feel like I've been coming to her more than she to me, but she still wants things to be like they used to. But I feel like she doesn't know how to how to heal it. How to she's just not good with arguments. She isn't good with negative emotions. I know that
It sounds to me you're both going through these multiple levels of emotions, Rowan. If you're in that office and you're going through them, just be very careful because, like you say, it's almost like we all change with the wind anyway. So,
yeah. But you know what's really good? We're really good at holding it, keeping it between us. We don't talk to each other only when it's work related, and that doesn't happen too much. And
no,
nobody notices at all. And we don't interact or whatsoever. It just happens subtly. Because it's all energy, and we're all both we can both see all those little things. So nobody really noticed, only us two now, and there are a few close colleagues of me who know as well. And for the
so
rest,
so if you didn't go on a train with her for 2 months, or you didn't speak to her for 2 months and she's at the train station, did you speak to her when you was in the office?
no, we don't even say hi to each other.
So,
Nothing. I don't look
so,
at her anything.
so when was the last time you spoke to her then?
Right before vacation, the last day, we had this party as work,
Right.
and she was constantly responding to things I was saying, constantly, while I
Right.
already told her like I don't want to do, well, I set this boundary of you have to come to me, I'm not coming to you anymore.
Yeah.
And she was responding to jokes I was making indirectly, laughing like she used to. But I
Yeah.
don't want to do that fucking shit. I want to talk it out. You just can't.
I tell you, I'm not laughing at you thinking. What I'm trying to say is, it's kind of, you're both confused. It sounds to be like you're both confused with the emotions that's going on, and what you've got to do, like you said, if you spoke to her like that last time before she went on holiday, 2 months before, you didn't speak for 2 months, not once.
No, only. Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 weeks before that trip. That was when we made. When we talked everything through, like I told you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So she
So
was
one
responding
more.
to me more and more, and
Yeah,
I told her like let's bike together, and then I told her everything, and she was agreeing, and then
yeah,
2 days later she was ignoring me again, and then I told her like no, and since then we hadn't talked, and before also 3 weeks, so. But
so,
it used to be like this. So we would see each other 5 days a week, 2 days not, and we would talk on the text, and then 5 days again. And once I took a day off for 3 days, and I came back at work, and she wanted to know everything, because we used to talk with each other for like 5 days, and now all of a sudden we hadn't talked for 3 days instead of 2 days. So it was really like that. We had this really close thing, and it became a little bit less close because of this tension there was, and at the end it kind of like exploded, because I
right.
told her, I feel like the tension was already there, but we never really spoke about it. And
Okay. So since she's been back, when did you come back off holiday? A week ago.
she came back 2 days ago. Monday was her first day.
So when did this chocolate appear on your desk?
That was before her holiday. It was like 2 or 3 days before a holiday on a Friday, and after that she also responded more and more to me, and that then I was like, okay, we have to talk this through because it's idiotic. We used to be such good friends, and now we're like indirectly talking to each other, and then we talk it through, and then after the weekend, without speaking to each other, she was ignoring me, go off this
Yeah.
like that. Nothing happened. So
Right.
and then weeks after that incident, she began to respond more indirectly to me. Um, and then the party at work was there, and she was drinking more and more, and she was overcompensating more and more,
Right.
getting louder and louder.
Here's something for you. Say you got to work tomorrow, and they said to you she's left work. She's not going to work there anymore. How would you feel?
Shitty.
You feel shitty, but you haven't spoken to her before she went on holiday for 2 months. Well, do you feel it's your fault she's left? Would you feel it's your fault she's left? What do
Yes.
you feel? Yeah, right, okay. So it's kind of like I said to you. She's saying she doesn't want any relationship with you. She's told you that blatantly. She's told you that, has she?
Yeah, but I already knew that because I've seen up close how she is when she likes someone, and I already knew that she hasn't been like that with me. So that was months before I told her. I already knew, and I'm not lying about this. I already knew she didn't like me. I told her about my feelings because I didn't want to screw her over. I want to be honest. I don't want to pretend to be a friend and then all of a sudden turn out to have feelings. That's the reason I told her, and I told her that up
Yeah.
front as well on the phone.
Yeah. So you've got a phone number. Have you got a phone number? Have you got her
Yes.
phone number? Well, why don't you, like I said to you, somehow or another, just say, can we meet, please, a weekend, just for an hour?
No, man. You know what the problem is? I've already sent her a few texts, and she has only over these 2 months we had this rough period, and she has like responded to only two of them very shortly. And I feel
Right.
like I'm overdoing it maybe a little bit. I don't want to push. I don't want to. And I've already sent her this text like before she got back from her vacation, telling her like, leave me alone and only talk to me when you want to. And then all of a sudden that you.
Yeah, I can see it now. It's coming on now. It's unraveling now. What's happening is you're going forward, and if she's rejecting you, then all of a sudden, when you've settled down, she comes forward. You're thinking, why was you last week when you rejected me?
Yeah.
And what it's doing is bending your head. So you've
Yeah.
got to be careful here. Like you just said to me, you told me you didn't want her anywhere near you for 2 months. You just keep away. Then you were sending the texts. So it sounds to me like you're confusing logic and emotion here. And it's kind of, if it's not doing you any good, and it's not doing her any good, if it's not going anywhere, like you say, you just got to kind of just try and meet somehow and try and get a friendship. That's a friendship. That's it.
That's what I want. I don't want.
Yeah.
Of course, I want to have the sex thing, but I know I can't. So I'm all cool with that. The problem now is that I want to make things good, and she doesn't, or she can't, or I don't know what she
Yeah,
isn't good with those kind of emotions.
Right.
I've already told her like, I want things to be good, but I just can't pretend like nothing happened.
You want to go back. You want it to go back how it was before.
Yeah, that's what I want. And the reason I told her was because I was afraid this would get fucked, because she would find out about my feelings and she would feel betrayed. I feel like I was on time telling her, because I have been denying those feelings myself as well. And the
I know
moment
you've told her something that's very precious to you, and you feel kind of deflated and let down by it.
yeah,
But the thing is though, Rob,
other women told me as well when I told this story. They said I would have responded like, okay, I don't feel like that for you, but I just want to be. I want to maintain being friends. It's not.
Sure.
Yeah, but she's acting really weirdly to this. Other people are saying this as well. It's really strange how she's responding. I don't get it, and it must have something to do with her past, or I don't know. But it's really really strange, you know.
And you'll not know either. You'll only pick up the vibration or the energy. You'll never
Right.
know. She
No.
won't tell you. So what happened is you'll be cogitating your brain, thinking, what is it, what is it, what is it, and then you're then not concentrating on yourself. You're not being yourself. You see, you carry. Then what she's doing is you're carrying her energy in context. You're thinking for her and thinking what's going on.
The reason I'm sending all those texts is because I'm confused about her. I want to know. I want to know. I'm sending her texts. I'm sending her texts. I'm talking to her. I'm trying to make things right, you know. And she is
Yeah.
pushing me back, giving me a little, and then she's pushing me back, and then she's responding indirectly again, you know. And then that's when I had to say to myself, like, I'm not going to do this. And that's when I told her, I want you to leave me the fuck alone and come to me. Didn't tell her. I was okay, and you know, and come to me when you want to talk this out like adults. And she doesn't respond to those texts. And at work she's also ignoring me, but she's still paying attention to me and still responding to things I'm saying, and
Yeah, it's I see what it's doing to you. I see it's kind of like it's twisting your mind. Like I said to you, the logic and emotions bending you out of shape. You've just got to. What you've got to do, Rowan, is kind of like you say, is get yourself, get your own perception right. Even at the cost of her, till you don't even speak to her till you get your own mind level. You've got to get out of her energy field, because if you don't get out of it, you're going to keep bending, twisting,
the
spiraling.
good thing is that because you have like my desk in the opposite of me, another desk that used to be empty for a long time, and then you have her, and
Right.
there used to be someone in between us, and then it would be okay. But since that other person left, only the two of us were there, and I feel like that has changed a lot of stuff as well. It's all energy, you know. But recently, another woman moved to the place opposite of me, and I've begun to vibe with her really good in a normal way, you know. So that helps a lot as well. And I'm really intentional and loud, and I can be myself with that person, you know. And it also made me realize how I couldn't be like that with the woman, you know, I like, because she has all these rules for herself, you know, and she's really easily offended, you know.
Yeah, well, then when you're at the office, then just whatever, when you've got that attention, that side, when you can actually give that other person the attention and just speak to them nicely, use them as the buffer. Don't just try and kind of take the emotion. You got to take the emotion out of this situation. It's the emotion that's the problem, you see, because you're in a logical environment. It's almost like, put it this way: if you're in a class and you're studying to be a mathematic teacher, you can't be sat there thinking about your two kids and your wife at home. Else you're never going to get the logic done, because you're in a different part of your mind. That's what you got to understand. Your mind's split, logic and emotion, and you're getting them all confused like that. That's what I'm getting from you. You're like that.
Yeah, but we aren't really involved with each other at work. When we would talk with each other at work, it wouldn't be as co-workers, it would be more as friends, you know. We would talk each other if we would see each other. It was never really work related, because we don't really have to do too much with each other in that way, you know. We are just close to each other, we have a good bond, so it always has been emotional between us. It always, we wouldn't be sharing the same things as when we would be with just the two of us, but it always had this playful energy, always this friendship kind of energy, this bond, you know. We had a really, I had never, you know, I'm not delusional about this. I've never felt this, you know. It's not, and I don't mean it in a romantical kind of way, but it's a really special kind of
Okay.
thing.
And you feel at the moment, you feel kind of let down and kind of deflated with it, and kind of,
the sex thing is only a small part of it, you know.
yeah.
It's more about the friendship to me.
No, I'm not saying to you to get rid of her. I'm not saying to you not speak to her, Rowan. But what I'm saying to you is get your own balance, get your own positivity, without considering even thinking about her.
Yeah,
Because then go back to her. So this is what I'm saying to you: get your own flame burning, then go back to her. Until you get your flame burning, all you're going to keep doing is keep putting each other's candle out. You see, and
but
that's all that's going to happen.
I've already told her, like, come to me, you know. So it would be a bit weird for me to come to her anyways. I feel like she wouldn't take me serious anymore. I feel like I've said this, so I have to stand behind it, you know. I can't turn back anymore. I have to show her that I'm serious about this and I have boundaries, you know. I don't want to give in, you know. It's already about that kind of stuff, you know. I can't tell her the one thing and do the other, you know. I have to set an example, because what I told her, I'm standing behind that. I want to talk things out. I don't want to pretend that like nothing happened. So that's what I want. And
okay, then. So what I can suggest to you is then you're not going back to her. So what you need to do is you still need to get your candle burning. You still need to get your own self-respect and your own kind of energy going, your own furnace building. And you're going to do that. You set your plan out for the next probably 6 or 7 days. Get yourself back to normal. Get yourself back in a focus where you are in control of your emotions.
mm-hmm.
You know, because if you're not in control of your emotions, like you say, you're taking that every day to that office, and it's driving you fucking crackers. So what you got to do, get in control of your own emotions, and then kind of go back over it, because it's very difficult. I understand, but then once you've got your own kind of balance, you can then kind of then make more sense of it, because at the moment you can't make any sense of it. I can see where you are. So once you pull yourself away from it, look at it like this, like rowing. You're in a swimming pool. There's two of you in a swimming pool, yeah? You've got to mentally put yourself on that, you know, where they sit at the top of the swimming pool, look down into the water. There might be 10 metres up, some guy sat on a chair. You've got to send yourself up there and look down at your actions inside that pool, third person perspective of your actions in front of her, and pull yourself away from it, else you're gonna get chewed up by it all.
Yeah, that's good advice, man.
You know, what you got to do is look at it like you're in a swimming pool together, and you've got to get out of that pool and get on that chair and look down and kind of go, what's going on here now? What's going on? Let me have a look at it from a different angle here. Let me get myself from out of these two people perspectives. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're inside of a fish tank together. You've got to get out of that fish tank and look back in the tank and see exactly what's going on. And then you realise, you think, a lot of that's just kind of running off my emotions, you know. It's kind of very complex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for sure, that's an interesting thing. And,
you've got to get that third person perspective. There's you and her. If you can get yourself away and then look back at yourself and your actions and her actions, you realise it's just gone out of control. It's in this country, they call it a word, storm in a teacup. Storm in a teacup, you can't get a storm in a teacup, it's too small. But people, they'll go, oh, there's this happening, that happening. And then when you look in a teacup, there's a little tiny puddle of water, and that was it. It's all blown out of proportion. Emotions expand, and it's very complex, you know. So, yeah, what do you want to do? Do you want to round it at 1:30?
Yeah, that's okay.
You click the pause, and we'll have a chat after 5 minutes, yeah?
All right, that's good, man.
All right. The pause.
Well, people.
Okay, catch you later.
Catch you later.
Yeah, good old rattle around there and see what happens. And then go back to him in a couple of weeks, see what happens if outside that swimming pool.
All right. Bye.